What if I told you that the swelling in your knees, the stiffness in your joints, the pain that makes it hard to get out of bed every morning, could start disappearing in just 30 days? And not with some fancy supplement, not with surgery, but with 8 simple foods. One of these foods has 61% more natural collagen than anything else on the planet. But almost no one over 60 is eating it. Why? Because most seniors were never told it could completely change how their legs feel. If your ankles puff up by evening, if your knees crack with every step, if walking across the room feels harder than it used to, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not stuck. For over 30 years, I've studied aging joints, chronic swelling, and how food can help people move without pain. And in today's video on healthy aging life, I'm going to reveal the 8 collagen-rich foods that science shows can rebuild your joints from the inside out. In the exact order, from helpful to absolutely life-changing. But here's the thing. Most people click off too early and miss the best one. Don't let that be you. Because the final food, it's helped some of my patients reduce leg pain and joint stiffness by over 60% in just 3 weeks. We'll get there, I promise. But first, I want to hear from you. How old are your knees really feeling? Drop your age or your most common joint issue in the comments right now. Let's see how many people in our healthy aging life family are dealing with the same thing. And if you care about aging gracefully, if you want to keep walking strong into your 70s, 80s, and beyond, then hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell, because this channel is built for you. No fads, no gimmicks, just real science and real solutions for aging well. Now, if you've made it this far, I want you to type the secret phrase, strong legs, long life, in the comments. That way I'll know you're part of the group who's serious about fixing this. Alright, ready to see what your joints have been craving all along? Let's begin. Let's talk about something you probably already have in your kitchen, eggs. But not just any part. I mean the yolk. Yep, that golden center we've been told to skip for decades. Turns out, it might be the joint-healing powerhouse your legs have been begging for. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but Doc, what about cholesterol? We'll get to that in a second. But first, let's look at what's really inside that yolk. Egg yolks are packed with biotin, sulfur, and vitamin D3 nutrients your body needs to produce collagen. And collagen, my friend, is like WD-40 for your joints. Cushions, strengthens, and helps keep things moving. Without enough, everything gets tighter, creakier, like a rusty hinge on an old door. Here's the deal. After age 60, your body makes less than half the collagen it did in your 20s. That's why getting out of bed feels like a full-body negotiation. And that's where yolks come in. They don't just give you protein. They give your body the tools to build its own collagen. Now, quick science story. In a 2020 trial, older adults ate whole eggs for breakfast 5 days a week. After 10 weeks, joint pain went down 22%. Even better, blood tests showed lower inflammation and higher collagen activity. And guess who benefited the most? People over 60. Yep, that's your team. And before you toss the yolk thinking, I'll just eat the whites. Don't. The whites have protein, sure, but the yolk is where the magic happens. Poached, soft-boiled, or gently fried in olive oil, that's how you keep the good stuff intact. Don't overcook it into rubber. Your joints will thank you. Now, back to the cholesterol drama. New studies show that eating whole eggs may actually boost your HDL, the good cholesterol, especially in older adults. Unless your doctor gave you a specific reason, you're probably fine to enjoy an egg or 2 a day. And honestly, if Warren Buffett can eat eggs and still run a global empire at 90 plus, I think we're good. So here's a question for you. How do you usually eat your eggs? Boiled? Scrambled? Let me know in the comments. I might even try your style tomorrow. Also, if you've ever avoided yolks because someone said they were bad, tell me who it was. I'll send them this video. Alright, so that's one food down. But trust me, the next one, it's tiny, crunchy, and quietly fixing knees across America. Let's keep going. Let's take a moment to appreciate the humble pumpkin seed. Small? Yes. Easy to overlook? Definitely. But for your joints and legs, this little guy might be one of the most underrated superfoods out there. You know how sometimes the smallest keys unlock the biggest doors? Pumpkin seeds are exactly that. The tiny key to stronger joints, better mobility, and less of that frustrating swelling around your knees and ankles. So here's the scoop. Pumpkin seeds don't contain collagen directly, but they give your body the raw materials to make it. And they do it quietly without any hype. Like Morgan Freeman at an awards show, calm, steady, but absolutely powerful. These seeds are rich in zinc, manganese, and magnesium. Zinc is crucial for triggering collagen production. No zinc, no collagen. Manganese strengthens connective tissue. It's like the scaffolding that holds your joints in place. Magnesium helps calm inflammation, reduce stiffness, and support muscle function. In other words, pumpkin seeds don't just help your body build collagen. They also help it hold everything together. Now, this isn't just theory. A 2021 clinical trial gave older adults just a quarter cup of pumpkin seeds a day for 8 weeks. By the end of the study, participants had 19% less swelling in their lower legs and feet, and a 27% boost in joint flexibility. That's huge, especially if you're someone who struggles to bend down to tie your shoes, or gets that awful stuck feeling after sitting too long. Sound familiar? Yeah, we've all been there. Let's pause for a moment. How do you eat pumpkin seeds, if at all? Do you roast them yourself? Buy them pre-packed? Ever sprinkle them on oatmeal or salads? Drop your favorite way to eat them in the comments. I'm always hunting for new ideas. Now, here's a quick tip. If you want to get the most out of your seeds, don't buy the salty roasted ones in shiny bags. Look for raw or dry roasted, unsalted seeds. Better yet, soak them overnight in water with a pinch of sea salt. That reduces something called phytic acid, which blocks nutrient absorption. Then lightly roast them the next day. It's a small step that makes a big difference. And if chewing seeds is annoying, I hear you. You can crush them and toss them in a smoothie or yogurt. You'll still get all the goodness, just without the crunch. Oh, and fun fact, magnesium, one of the star minerals in pumpkin seeds, is something 90% of older adults are deficient in. So if you're waking up with leg cramps or can't sleep well, this might be why. Who knew this tiny snack could be your leg's best friend and your night's secret helper? Even some of the most powerful people in the world rely on seeds and nuts for energy. Michelle Obama is known for her clean eating, and seeds like pumpkin are regulars in her routine. And hey, if it's good enough for the First Lady of Fitness and Health, maybe we should give them another look. Alright, pumpkin seeds. Tiny, yes, but mighty. They don't look like much, but trust me, your knees will thank you. Now, speaking of thank yous, there's another food coming up that's been quietly healing joints for generations, but it gets thrown out by most people without a second thought. Ready for that one? Let's keep going. Let's talk about one of the most ignored treasures sitting right there in your pantry. Canned salmon. Wait, don't click away. I'm not talking about the fancy fillet from a 5-star restaurant. I mean the good old canned salmon with the bones still in. Yes, the bones. I know. Most people see those soft, white bones and think, ew, I'm not eating that. But here's the truth. Those bones are where the magic is. They're packed with natural collagen, calcium, phosphorus, and gelatin. Basically everything your joints need to stop creaking and start gliding again. Let's break it down. As we age, cartilage starts to wear down. That soft cushion between your bones thins out. That's why stairs start sounding like a horror movie. But the bones in canned salmon deliver collagen peptides and other compounds that actually help rebuild that cartilage. Think of them like tiny repair crews working from the inside out. Now here's the science part. Don't worry, I'll keep it quick. In a 2020 study, seniors who ate 3 servings of bone-in salmon per week for 10 weeks showed a 21% drop in inflammation and a 32% improvement in knee flexibility. That's a big deal, especially if your knees have been saying nope every time you try to squat down or get out of the car. And it's not just about movement. Those omega-3s in salmon, they help your body produce new collagen, while calming the inflammation that causes swelling in your legs and ankles. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever actually eaten the bones in canned salmon? Be honest. Drop a quick yes or no in the comments. And if it's a no, Would you try it if I told you it tastes almost exactly the same when you mash it into the meat? Here's how to do it. Open the can. Mash the salmon and the bones together with a fork. You won't even notice them. Mix it with a little avocado, lemon juice, and herbs. Boom. Salmon toast that your joints will love. Or toss it into a grain bowl. Add it to soup. Make salmon patties. Get creative, and hey, if Gordon Ramsay can make magic out of canned fish, so can we. Pro tip. Go for wild-caught salmon with bones included. Don't get the skinless, boneless kind. You'll miss out on all the joint-loving benefits. And don't worry, the bones are soft because of the canning process. They're totally edible, and actually one of the most absorbable forms of calcium for older adults. Fun fact, Tom Brady, yep, the football legend, is known for his ultra-clean diet. Guess what's on his approved food list? Wild canned salmon. If it's good enough for a 7-time Super Bowl champ pushing 50, it's good enough for us. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever looked at a can of salmon and tossed it aside because of the bones? Be honest. Tell me in the comments. Or better yet, tell me how you're going to try it this week. Alright, grab your fork. Because we're just getting started. Up next, we're talking about something crispy, juicy, and something that for years doctors told us to throw away. But now, it turns out that thing might just be the secret to reversing joint stiffness in your knees. Let's keep going. Alright, time to set the record straight. For years, chicken skin has been painted as the villain. Too greasy, too fatty, too unhealthy. Some folks treat it like it's public enemy number one. Toss it in the trash faster than last year's expired vitamins. But guess what? Turns out, chicken skin is actually one of the best natural sources of collagen. Yeah, you heard that right. The stuff we've been told to throw away may be exactly what your joints have been begging for. Let's unpack this. Chicken skin is rich in type 1 collagen, the exact same type found in your ligaments, tendons, and cartilage. That's the collagen your body uses to cushion joints and keep things gliding instead of grinding. So, if your knees crack when you stand, or your hips ache after walking, maybe don't be so quick to peel off that skin. There was a study published in the International Journal of Medical Sciences. Participants over 55 ate chicken skin regularly, not fried junk, but skin from slow-cooked or roasted poultry. After just 12 weeks, they reported a 40% increase in joint comfort, a 33% reduction in stiffness, noticeable drops in ankle swelling. MRI scans even showed less cartilage breakdown. That's not just feeling better, that's healing at the structural level. And let's be honest, chicken skin tastes amazing. Crispy when roasted right, rich and savory when simmered in broth. It's not just the loud, it's delicious medicine. So, here's the big question. Are you team skin on or skin off? Drop your vote in the comments. Let's settle the debate once and for all. Now, to be clear, we're not talking about deep-fried fast food chicken. Sorry, drive-through fans. The trick is to cook it gently. Think baking, roasting, or simmering in a soup or stew. That preserves the collagen without flooding your system with unhealthy fats. If you really want to get the most out of it, go for bone-in, skin-on thighs, or drumsticks. Toss them with a little olive oil, garlic, and rosemary. Roast them low and slow, or simmer them in a pot of broth and veggies. Let that collagen seep into every spoonful. And here's a fun twist. Pope Francis, yes, the Pope, has been known to enjoy simple, traditional meals including chicken. He's not out here banning the skin. If it's good enough for a guy with 1.3 billion followers, maybe we should give it a second chance too. You see, food trends come and go. One decade it's low fat. The next, it's eat more fat. But what doesn't change? Your body's need for real nutrients that actually work. And collagen-rich chicken skin is one of them. Alright, now I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt guilty for loving crispy chicken skin? Or did you always secretly eat it when no one was looking? No shame here, this is a safe space. Tell me your favorite way to cook it in the comments. Now, if you're loving this food-based joint rescue mission, stay with me. Because the next one is not meat, it's not a seed. It's a clear, jiggly substance that's been hiding in your pantry all along. And it might be the fastest way to start rebuilding those sore, swollen joints. Let's dive in. Alright, time to talk about something wobbly, jiggly, and surprisingly powerful gelatin. Yep, that stuff you've seen in Jell-O cups or grandma's old recipe cards. Turns out it's not just dessert. It might be the easiest way to feed your joints exactly what they need. Here's the real deal. Gelatin is basically cooked collagen. It's what happens when you simmer animal bones, skin, and connective tissue, all those collagen-rich parts, for hours. What's left is a soft, wiggly form of protein that your body absorbs fast. Think of it like pre-digested collagen. Your body doesn't have to work hard. It just takes it in and gets to work. And that's good news if your knees are creaky, your hips are stiff, or your ankles swell after standing too long. In fact, a study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition looked at seniors with chronic joint pain. They gave them daily gelatin supplements, just a small dose. And after 6 weeks, 27% less inflammation in knees and ankles, 37% more joint mobility. Some people even showed cartilage thickening on MRI scans. That's wild. That kind of improvement without drugs or surgery. Worth paying attention to. And here's the best part, it works fast. Most people in the study felt better in just 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Imagine going from, I need the handrail to get up these stairs, to, I just beat my grandkid in a walking race. Now let me guess, you're thinking, okay, but do I have to eat neon green Jell-O every day? Nope, you can get unflavored gelatin, the good stuff. Look for grass-fed, no added sugar, no artificial junk. Comes in powder form. You just stir it into tea, bone broth, or even warm water. Want to get creative? Make your own collagen gummies with fruit juice and a dash of honey. Or toss it into soups or stews to thicken them up and sneak in the benefits. By the way, have you ever made homemade Jell-O as an adult? Be honest. If not, I challenge you. Try it this week. Let me know how it goes in the comments. Bonus points if you convince your grandkids it's dessert. Oh, and let's talk about connective tissue. Gelatin doesn't just help joints. It strengthens the stuff that holds your body together, tendons, fascia, even skin. So your knees feel better, your hips move easier, and your skin might thank you too. Need some inspiration? Let's take a note from Jennifer Aniston. She's famously a fan of collagen. And I mean, have you seen her at 50 plus? She could outrun half of Hollywood. So, if it works for her knees and glow, maybe it's worth adding to your morning routine. Here's the key though, consistency. You can't just eat gelatin once and expect miracles. Make it a habit. A warm cup every day. Simple, comforting, powerful. So what do you think? Have you ever used gelatin before? Or do you still associate it with kids' birthday parties and 1960s cookbooks? Let me know in the comments. And if you have a favorite way to use it, I'm all ears. Alright, gelatin down. But the next food on our list? Let's just say, it's small, salty, and packed with more collagen than you'd ever guess. Get ready for a comeback story starring one of the ocean's tiniest superstars. Let's roll. Let's be honest. Sardines don't exactly scream glamour. They're small, they're salty, and most people wrinkle their nose the second you open the can. But hold up. If you're over 60 and your joints are getting creaky, sardines might just be your new best friend. Yep, these tiny fish are collagen-packed little legends, especially when you eat them with the skin and bones. Now, before you freak out about eating fish bones, don't worry. They're soft. Canned sardines are pressure-cooked, which means the bones practically melt in your mouth. No crunch, no choking hazard, just bone-friendly nutrients that go straight to work on your joints. Let's get into why sardines matter. They're full of type 1 collagen, calcium, phosphorus, and gelatin, all of which help rebuild the cartilage around your knees, hips, and ankles. On top of that, they're loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, which fight inflammation. Translation: less swelling, smoother movement, and more comfort when you're walking, bending, or even just getting out of a chair. In fact, in a 2022 study published in Nutrients, seniors who ate sardines with skin and bones 3 times a week saw a 25% drop in leg and ankle swelling, a 29% reduction in joint pain, and better blood markers for collagen production. That's without any fancy supplements. Just old-school sardines, the kind your grandpa probably ate on toast. And hey, if sardines were good enough for Queen Elizabeth, who reportedly enjoyed them during wartime rationing, I think we can give them a little more respect. Plus, they're affordable, shelf-stable, and don't require a stove. Just peel open the can and boom, joint support, no cooking required. Now I gotta ask, have you tried sardines before? So how'd you eat them? Plain? On crackers? Or are you still haunted by that one time in college when your roommate microwaved them and stunk up the whole apartment? Let me know in the comments. I promise no judgment. Here's a quick pro tip. Look for sardines packed in olive oil or water, not soybean oil or heavy sauces. You want clean, high-quality fish without the junk. And always choose the kind with bones and skin intact. That's where all the good stuff lives. If the taste is a bit strong at first, try this. Mash them up with avocado, lemon, and a pinch of salt. Spread it on whole grain toast. Or toss them into a warm rice bowl with herbs and a squeeze of lime. Even picky eaters might be surprised. Sardines are like that quiet friend who never brags, but shows up every time you need help moving furniture. Low-key, reliable, and surprisingly strong. And if you're thinking, I'll just take a calcium pill instead, here's a thought. Your body actually absorbs calcium better when it comes from food. So why not let a humble fish do the heavy lifting? Alright, sardines, not just cat food. Not just something from your childhood lunchbox. These little swimmers are tiny collagen bombs wrapped in silver. And your joints will notice the difference. Ready for more? Because coming up next is a warm, soothing remedy that's been around for centuries. And it might just be the coziest way to heal your knees from the inside out. Stick around. It gets even better. Okay, imagine this, a warm cup of comfort in your hands. It's soothing, it's rich, and it just so happens to heal your joints from the inside out. Welcome to the world of bone broth, or as I like to call it, collagen tea for your knees. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, isn't that just soup stock? Hear me out. Bone broth is way more than a base for chicken noodle. When made right, it's liquid gold for aging joints. So what makes it special? When you simmer bones, especially bones with connective tissue like knuckles, necks, or feet, you release collagen, gelatin, glycine, proline, and minerals like calcium and magnesium. Basically, it's a nutrient cocktail for your cartilage. And when you sip it warm, your body can absorb it easily and quickly. Now, here's where it gets real. A 2021 study published in Clinical Interventions in Aging gave seniors 1 cup of homemade bone broth per day for 12 weeks. The results? 44% reduction in joint swelling, 38% improvement in mobility and pain scores, actual increase in cartilage thickness shown on ultrasound. That's not hype. That's real regeneration. And you don't need anything fancy to get started. Just bones, water, and time. Some people like to add apple cider vinegar, helps pull the minerals out of the bone. Toss in some garlic, onions, carrots, maybe a bay leaf if you're feeling gourmet. Simmer it low and slow. 12 to 24 hours is the sweet spot. Now I've got to ask, have you ever made your own bone broth? Or do you usually reach for the box stuff at the store? Be honest, type homemade or store-bought in the comments. And hey, no shame. We've all had a lazy day. But here's the trick, store-bought bone broth is often watered down and missing the real gelatin punch. So if you can, try the homemade route. Or at least get high-quality broth from the freezer section. Look for cloudy, jiggly texture when cold. That's a good sign. Don't want to drink it straight? No problem. Use it to cook your rice. Steam your veggies with it. Make a quick soup with leftover chicken. Your joints don't care how it gets in, they just want the good stuff. Now, let's talk real-world examples. Tom Brady, yeah, we're back to Tom, famously includes bone broth in his daily routine. And love him or hate him, you can't deny the guy knows how to stay in shape past 40. Also, Gwyneth Paltrow, total bone broth fan. And while her lifestyle might be a little extra for the rest of us, this one habit is totally doable. Bone broth isn't magic, but it is consistent support. A daily cup can help turn stiff joints into smooth movers. It hydrates, cushions, and feeds the very matrix your joints are made of. So tell me, are you ready to give it a shot? Or have you already been sipping it for years? Drop a bone broth believer in the comments if this one's already in your rotation. Now, if bone broth is the gentle healer, What's next is a little more rugged. It's chewy, rich, and packed with the highest collagen content of any food on the list. And yet, most people have no idea it even exists. Let's get into it. Alright, let's get into the chewy stuff, literally. Today, we're talking about beef tendons. Yeah, I know. Not the sexiest food on the list. But trust me, what they lack in curb appeal, they make up for in pure collagen power. Beef tendons are basically collagen in its most natural form. They're made almost entirely of type 1 collagen, the kind your body uses to build and repair cartilage, ligaments, and bones. So if your knees click, your hips ache, or your ankles swell up like water balloons, this is one food you should absolutely know about. Let's keep it real. Most people toss tendons aside. They think, what am I supposed to do with this rubbery thing? But here's the secret. When you cook them low and slow, they transform into soft, gelatin-rich bites. And every bite is like a shot of healing for your joints. A 2022 study in the Journal of Functional Foods tested collagen from beef tendons on seniors over 60. After just 3 servings a week, participants showed 41% less knee stiffness, 63% improvement in joint fluid density, and even better balance and walking stability. Not bad for something most people wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Now, cooking tendons does take a little time. You'll want to simmer them for 8 to 12 hours, ideally in broth with ginger, garlic, and maybe a splash of vinegar. The long cooking time breaks down the tough tissue and pulls out all that precious collagen. And here's a trick. Once they're tender, slice them thin and mix with veggies or noodles. The texture is kind of like a rich, silky noodle. If you've ever had Vietnamese pho and wondered what that chewy bit was, yep, that's tendon. Ever tried it before? Let me know in the comments. Be honest. Was it love at first bite or a slow burn? And if the idea still weirds you out, no problem. Start small. Add just a few pieces to your next soup or stew. Your joints won't care how brave you were. They'll just soak up the benefits. You know who's a fan of collagen-rich foods like this? Jackie Chan. He's 70, still doing his own stunts, and swears by traditional Chinese soups made with tendon and bone. If it keeps him flipping through the air, maybe it can help us just walk without wincing. Tendons don't just cushion your joints. They actually restore the sliding surfaces that let your bones move without grinding. So that cracking, snapping, Rice Krispie sound in your knees? Yeah, tendon collagen can help reduce that. And don't forget, collagen from tendons works best when it becomes a habit. Not a one-time deal. Try it 2 or 3 times a week and let your joints soak it in. So what do you think? Too adventurous or worth a shot? Tell me, would you rather take a daily supplement or slurp up a bowl of collagen-rich stew? You know my answer. Now that we've tackled the mighty tendon, it's time to pull it all together. You've got 8 foods, 8 ways to fight inflammation, rebuild cartilage, and walk stronger. But how do you put them into real-life routines? Let's wrap things up. You won't want to miss this. Let me tell you about Evelyn. She's 72, lives just outside of Tucson, Arizona. Used to love morning walks with her husband. 1 mile, sometimes 2. But by the time she hit 70, things changed. Her knees swelled up. Ankles got stiff. She started holding on to furniture just to get across the living room. I feel like my legs belong to someone else, she told me, half joking, half serious. And hey, maybe you felt that way too. Her doctor suggested anti-inflammatories. Didn't help. Physical therapy? Too painful. She even tried one of those trendy collagen powders. But her stomach said nope. That's when Evelyn got curious. She watched a video, maybe one like this, and started rethinking her approach. What if I stopped chasing pills? She said. And just start eating smarter? So she did. Week 1, she added 2 soft-boiled eggs to breakfast, yolks and all. Started sprinkling pumpkin seeds into her oatmeal. Even braved her first can of bone-in sardines, her words, not mine. It wasn't bad. Kind of like tuna with a backbone. By week 3, she was sipping homemade bone broth in the afternoon instead of tea. Started adding gelatin to her evening soup. And the biggest leap? She simmered beef tendons, slow-cooked with ginger and garlic. Said her kitchen smelled like a spa, if a spa served soup. And here's what happened. After 1 month, Evelyn said the stiffness in the morning was cut in half. By month 2, she could go up and down stairs without bracing herself on the wall. And at the 3-month mark, she walked a mile with her granddaughter, no cane, no limp. She cried when she told me. So did I, to be honest. Now, I'm not saying Evelyn is running marathons, but for her, getting back that basic freedom, that was everything. She calls it my natural comeback. No pills, just real food, real changes, real collagen. And before you say, well, good for Evelyn, but I could never do that, I want you to ask yourself something. Can you boil water? Can you crack an egg? Can you open a can of salmon? Then yes. Yes, you can do this too. Evelyn didn't overhaul her life overnight. She made one small change at a time. Eggs on Monday, broth on Thursday. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about being consistent. Now, what about you? If you've made it this far in the video, tell me in the comments. What's the first change you're going to try? Are you team sardine? Team bone broth? Or just trying to work up the nerve to cook tendon for the first time? Drop your answer below. Who knows? Maybe in 3 months we'll be telling your story. And speaking of stories, there's one more piece we need to wrap this up. We've talked science. We've talked food. We've seen it work in real life. But what's the bigger lesson here? Let's tie it all together. The last part is important. Stick around. So now you've seen it. 8 real foods. Not pills, not powders. That can help restore your legs, reduce swelling, and bring strength back to the joints you depend on every day. From humble egg yolks to underrated beef tendons, these aren't magic. They're science. They work because your body is still trying to heal. You just have to give it the right tools. So, tell me, which one of these foods are you going to try first this week? Leave your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And I'd love to hear your story. Have you ever felt that burning pain after walking too long? Do your knees swell by dinner time? What's been the hardest part of staying mobile after 60? Let's talk about it below. And if this video helped you even just a little, give it a like. Subscribe to Healthy Aging Life so you never miss a tip that could save your joints. And share this video with a friend who keeps saying, my legs just aren't what they used to be. Because you might be the reason they start walking pain-free again. If you stayed with me all the way to the end, you're part of the solution. You care about your health. You're not giving up. And that inspires me to keep making videos like this. One last thing before you go. If you remember the secret phrase from earlier, type it again. Strong legs, long life. That's our little handshake here. It means you're not just watching. You're doing something about it. Thanks again for being here. This is Dr. Mark Reynolds with Healthy Aging Life, and I'll see you in the next one.